Welcome back to Hardball. We're back with Howard 5 Minute Newsweek, Jill Zuckman of the Chicago Tribune. And by the way, Jill Zuckman is a local Washingtonian. And Jonathan Capehart of the Washington Post. Gentlemen, thank you. In testimony before Congress today, former Justice Department official Monica Goodling, under immunity that she can't be prosecuted, said that Gonzalez's #2 misled Congress in the U.S. attorney firing scandal. She was talking about McNulty, the former deputy. Her testimony puts even more pressure on the embattled Attorney General. Here's Hardball correspondent David Schuster.
The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Today, Monica Goodling testified she was not very involved in the seemingly political firings of federal prosecutors. But while trying to distance herself from the scandal, Goodling damaged Attorney General Alberto Gonzales and outgoing Deputy Attorney General Paul McNulty.
Despite my and others' best efforts, the deputy's public testimony was incomplete or inaccurate in a number of respects.
Goodling said McNulty misled Congress about Justice Department discussions over the prosecutors and about the level of White House involvement in the firings.
The White House had been involved for several. He was aware that the department had worked for at least several months with the White House and that many offices in the White House had signed off.
After trashing McNulty and hurting the White House, Goodling then undercut Gonzales. Goodling described a meeting with top officials and Gonzales at the Justice Department where they discussed the prosecutors being dismissed. One of the prosecutors was New Mexico U.S. Attorney David Iglesias.
I asked the question at that point. I still don't know how Mr. Iglesias got on the list, and someone in the room just said that's been addressed.
Do you know who it was that gave that answer?
I don't remember.
But Goodling said she did remember the Attorney General having an earlier conversation with Republican Senator Pete Domenici, and that Domenici was angry Iglesias was not charging Democrats with vote fraud. Goodling's testimony was significant because Gonzales has testified he cannot remember the phone call with Domenici or the meeting at the Justice Department, and lawmakers suspect Gonzales of stonewalling. Goodling testified today she never spoke with White House counsel Harriet Miers or Bush political advisor Karl Rove, but she acknowledged having contact with Rove's deputy, Scott Jennings. Goodling also admitted that she made hiring decisions at the Justice Department based on political views.
I do acknowledge that I may have gone too far in asking political questions of applicants for career positions, and I may have taken inappropriate political considerations into account on some occasions.
That is usually a violation of federal law, and Democrat Bobby Scott pressed Goodling, a lawyer, on that point.
The best I can say is that I know I took political considerations into account on some occasions.
Was that legal?
Sir, I'm not able to answer that question. I know I crossed the line.
What line? Legal?
I crossed the line of the civil service rules.
You crossed the line of civil service laws, is that right?
I believe I crossed the lines, but I didn't mean to.
Other Democrats were shocked Goodling, who has never prosecuted a single case, even had any responsibility for hiring and firing at the Justice Department. And when Goodling was asked what previous experience she had making personnel decisions, the first thing on her mind was
college, where I was a student body president, and we actually did hire people to work on various organizations.
In a professional capacity outside of college.
At the Republican National Committee, I was the deputy director there of research and strategic planning. And we had
you did hiring and firing that.
I did some in the research department that I
How did you get your...
Democrats said it underscored the deep politicization of the Bush administration's Justice Department. And with Goodling unable to explain the firing of the federal prosecutors or provide a full picture of actions by White House officials, including Karl Rove, the frustration grew.
And I want the record to be clear that the only way we can get to the full truth is if Mr. Karl Rove is sitting in the very same seat that you're sitting in, and he needs to be here.
Rove, however, refuses to testify publicly or under oath, so that standoff with Congress continues. Meanwhile, late this afternoon, Deputy Attorney General Paul McNulty said that Monica Goodling was wrong and that he, McNulty, testified truthfully earlier this year based on what he knew at the time. None of these contradictions, though, are very good for Attorney General Gonzales, who continues to face congressional demands for Gonzales's resignation. I'm David Schuster for Hardball in Washington.